This is going to be so weird to get used to today. Let's start off by saying hello. Hi guys, I am filming on a new camera, so the quality might be a little bit better, but if there's a few things that are a little bit off, just bear with me while I try to figure it out. Like, I've got a new microphone plugged in, I've got a brand new camera, so all of that. Now, second of all, I already filmed this video, but I lost half of the footage. So we're doing this again, this one and the next video that you guys are gonna see on my channel. I've had to do it twice, so that's really frustrating, but we're a little bit more organized for this video now. So in today's video, we are doing my September reading wrap up. I had to figure out what month it was because we're so far into October already, but September reading wrap up. So without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into the video. So I do have myself a drink. I have a hot Milo. First things first, you guys know that I like to put some statistics in the start of these wrap-ups just because I like to see what my statistics look like and what my reading looked like as an overview, and then getting into the nitty-gritty of all the books. So this is my September reading wrap-up. My statistics, the number of books we read was 7. The number of pages read, which I'm so happy with, was 3,547, which is insane, almost 4,000 pages. That's so good to me. And my average rating was 3.8%, which is not the best. We will get into that. And my predominant format was physical books. I did read pretty much every physical book, like every book was physical last month. And then we move on to genres. Now, I wouldn't normally put this particular genre separately, but it didn't feel right going into romance either. So we have 3 romanticises, 3 romances, and 1 paranormal romance. Now, I would generally say that like a paranormal romance is a subgenre of romance, but it also didn't feel right to put it in that. It didn't feel right to put it in romantasy. It didn't feel right to put it in fantasy either. It's also marketed as a dark paranormal romance, so I just kind of decided to do that today. And then we move on to ratings. So we had 1 5-star rated book, 2 4.75 star rated books, 1 4.5 star rated book, 1 4-star rated book, 1 3.5 star rated book, and 1 0.5 star rated book, which I was not happy about. We'll get into that, but I was not happy with that book at all. And then we move on to tropes. So the tropes, just the top 5 tropes. The top 5 tropes that I read were slow burn, which 4 books had the slow burn trope. 3 books had the forced proximity trope. 3 books were a sports romance, 3 books were an emotional romance, and 3 books had the friends to lovers trope in it as well. Okay, so that's it for statistics. Let's get into each book. Some of these books I might not be able to get off because I've already put them away thinking that I'd already filmed this video and then going to edit it and I didn't have it. So if that happens, I will put one, I'll just put a picture up on the screen, but some of them are easily accessible, some of them are not. So, okay, the first book we read was Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh. The tropes in this is the 3rd book in the Boys of Tommen series. I obviously have the US cover because I love these covers more than the UK Australian covers. I also just love this book, like these books, they're so floppy. They're just, this is top tier to me. The tropes we have in this is it's an emotional romance. You have domestic violence topics, you have drug abuse topics. This is the friends to lovers. It's sports trope as well as found family in this one. So if you guys are unfamiliar with the Boys of Tommen series, this is book 3, so it is the first book in Joey and Aoife's duet. So it follows a different couple to Binding and Keeping 13. That's what the 6 is for. The 6 represents the boys' jersey numbers, so all the boys and the couples, their jersey number is the number on the cover. So Johnny is number 13, Joey is number 6, Gibbsy is number 7, and I think Huey is number 10. So Saving 6 is the first book of Joey and Aoife's story. This is more of their backstory because obviously we do get quite an introduction into Joey and Aoife in Binding and Keeping 13, but this just kind of goes backwards a little bit to when they first started school and the first day they met and all those sorts of things. And it was I thought it was really quite beautiful to go back to that and see that. I think it kind of helped with the story a little bit, and I think it just kind of made us get a better understanding of Joey and Aoife as individuals as well as a couple. So I actually quite enjoyed this book. Like I said, this follows them from like their first day of school right up to the start of like Binding 13. We have like quite a few, like not so much time skips, but like it's not consistent every day sort of thing. Like it kind of spans a couple of years from when they first started school to Binding 13. So that's Saving 6. Like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this series. I have one book left in this series, which I'm planning on reading this week, and I'm super excited. That's Saving 6. I rated this one, I think this one got a 4.5. Yeah, this one got a 4.5 star rating from me, and it also got a 2 chili spice. Now, I have said this about this series before. This is definitely not a YA series. It definitely talks about very heavy topics in terms of like the domestic violence, drug abuse, like all these sorts of things. It talks about very heavy topics, but this duet, and more so in the next book that we're going to talk about, but this duet and this book has spicy scenes and explicit spicy scenes discussed and mentioned in them. So this is definitely not YA. And then the next one we went on to read was Reedeeming 6 by Chloe Walsh. This book is a chunker. I didn't realize how big this book actually was. It's like as big as Releasing 10. Actually, this is probably slightly bigger than Releasing 10, even in this copy. You can see I annotated this one quite a lot. I really enjoyed this book. So this is the second book in Joey and Aoife's story. And this one runs along the same timeline as Binding and Keeping 13. So I'm not going to tell you too much about what happens in this book because I don't want to spoil Binding and Keeping 13 if you haven't read that. Reedeeming 6. Now, this has some very explicit spicy scenes. This book is definitely not YA. I would not be handing this book to anyone under the age of 18. It's definitely not YA. In saying that, I do think that what's spoken about in this book is super important. The tropes you have in this, again, it's an emotional romance. You've got domestic violence, drug abuse. This one's really heavy on the drug abuse as well. You have, again, the friends to lovers, sports, romance, found family, and you have like accidental/teen pregnancies mentioned in this book as well. So I do think that the topics that are spoken about in these books are incredibly important, but I just don't think that they're appropriate for young adults, which is where my gripe with this series comes in. But like, I still rated all these books really high. They've all gotten over 4 stars from me so far. So this one got a 4.75. I really liked this book. This book was my favorite of Joey and Aoife's story. It was really beautiful to see the growth that Joey went through, and also getting to see certain conversations that we weren't privy to in Binding and Keeping 13. Again, I'm not going to give you the spoilers to what conversation I'm talking about in that, but there is a particular conversation that happens in Binding and in Keeping 13 specifically between Joey and someone else. It was really nice to be able to see that conversation from Joey's point of view. So that was really nice. So this one got a 4.75 star, and again I put 1.5 chili spice, but I actually think this one should be more. Like, this one should be more like a 2. Also, something that I really want to mention about this that I forgot how much I loved until I did my, like, put my photos together for this, which you guys will see, you know, I put it up on the screen for you. But I forgot how like beautiful Joey and Lizzie's relationship is in this. Lizzie and Joey actually form a really beautiful friendship in this, and it was really beautiful to see. So that's just something to keep in mind as well, that I really liked. On to the next. Now, the next book. This is the book that I really disliked. And if you guys saw my swapping screen time for reading time vlog, you will know why. I did come on to the end of the video and explain why I really disliked this book. But the next book we read was The Coven by Harper L. Woods. This is a dark paranormal romance. I think that that's a bit generous, if I'm being completely honest. There wasn't a whole much paranormal stuff going on. It's supposed to be about witches, but we're not seeing anything like really witchy happening except them being in a coven, essentially. This is slow burn, enemies to lovers, and like a whole bunch of secrets. The thing that I really didn't like about this book, so the point of this book, well, the story, is you are following Willow Mediza. She basically forced, in a sense, to attend Hollows Grove University, and essentially it's a university for witches, male and female. And in this coven, if you are born male, you have to choose between power or having children. the women obviously have both because they obviously need to procreate. But the reason why they do that is because they do not want crossbreeding between families. So they don't want anyone to have two different lines in their one bloodline. You find out very early on that the reason why Willow is accepting and going and doing this even though she doesn't want to is because she has a mission to complete from her father. Essentially, she gets to the Coven and she spends her entire time running around after the headmaster, Alaric Grayson Thorne, and she doesn't do anything for her mission the entire time. Like you don't see her going to find the thing that she's specifically going to go and get, and it's really, really frustrating. So this got the 0.5 star and it got a 0.5 chili spice. It was not that spicy. It was kind of boring. Didn't really enjoy the book. Take that as you will. I'm also going to be setting up a shelf of shame. So this book is going on said shelf of shame behind me. So, okay, and next up we have the Songbird and the Heart of Stone. I didn't mind this book. It was a little bit of a letdown for me. I feel like the first two books in this series were really, really good. I then read the novella, Six Scorched Roses, and that wasn't all that it was cracked up to be either. And then also this book, I felt kind of let down by it. This one, you are following a different pairing. So if you don't know what the Crowns of Nyaxia series is going to be like, it is going to have 3 sets of duets in the entire series, and they're going to be following the different vampire houses. So the Serpent and the Wings of Night and the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King are the Nightborn duet. This is the Shadowborn duet. Yes, this is the Shadowborn duet, so it's following Shadowborn vampires, and then the third duet will be the Bloodborn vampires, and I have a feeling we already know who that's going to be about. So in this one, you're following Misha, who is a side character in the first one. She is Rain's best friend, and you're also following Asar, who is essentially like the warden for like the vampire prison in the Shadowborn kingdom, and he essentially takes her on a mission to go to the underworld to retrieve something specific. I'm not sure what, I can't remember exactly what it is, but they were going to retrieve something. Actually, they were going to retrieve a multitude of things, multiple things. Now, also, if you've read the first duet, you will know that Misha was a chosen bride of Atroxus, who is the god of light, and she used to be able to use her magic or use his magic, but once she was turned a vampire, it burns her. Now it burns her skin because obviously vampires can't go in the light. So that follows this. I did really like the romance between Asar and Misha. However, this is a very slow burn book. Like, not much really happens until like the last little bit at the back. I did listen to this on Audible, which was really, really nice. I felt like it was narrated really well and I quite enjoyed it. Also, I should tell you that the tropes in this is slow burn, underworld, kind of like captive slash captor, considering he's the warden of the prison. Like, he's literally like the person to keep control of her. And divinity is in this as well. There was something else, I can't remember what it is now. Oh, forced proximity as well. So yeah, that's this one. This got a 3-star rating for me and a 0.5 chili spice. Like I said, it's not super spicy. I think there was like 1, maybe 2 scenes. I think there was only 1 from memory in this book. There was like a fair bit of tension building up from about the halfway point, or like the third, like the first third. There was a lot of tension building up, but it just took a while for that tension to get anywhere, if that makes sense. So yeah, just having a sip of my hot chocolate or hot Milo. And then the next book that I read was Taming 7 by Chloe Walsh. Like I said, we have 1 more book left in this series and I'm so excited to get through it. I'm not excited to be finished with the series, but I just like, I'm really loving this series so much that I just can't wait to like know the rest of the story. So this is book 5 in the Boys of Tommen series. This is Claire and Gibbsie's story. So Claire is Shannon's best friend and Gibbsie is Johnny's best friend. And these two have been best friends since they were children, literally like went to daycare together essentially. So they have been friends for a really, really long time. And then they are now like in high school. I think Gibbsie's in his last year of high school and Claire is in her second to last year of high school. You have, again, sports trope. Gibbsie's number is number 7 on the rugby team. And so you've got sports trope. It's an emotional romance as well. Again, talks about some very heavy topics in here. Not something that I want to talk about in great detail, but very hard topics on this as well. And again, this is also a slow burn. It's not a very big book, but it is a slow burn. You can obviously tell that there's a lot of love there and they basically act like a boyfriend girlfriend the entire way through, but it doesn't get to that point for quite a while in this book. So yeah, again, I don't want to tell you too much. This does take place after Binding and Keeping 13 and Saving and Redeeming 6. It is after that. So if you've read those 4 books, this will take place after those, which I did really enjoy. I liked that we got to see them beyond that. And I did also like in this, we did get some flashbacks to them being a little bit younger, like a lot of like memories. And I did really enjoy that. I think it was really nice to see that for them. They've always been the same though. So I understand why we didn't get too much of that. And I think it would have let the story down had we had too much of the backstory. I feel like it wasn't necessary because we'd gotten such a good understanding of Claire and Gibbsy through Binding and Keeping 13 specifically, because obviously Gibbsy is Johnny's best friend and Claire is Shannon's best friend. So we got such an insight to both of them. So I don't think that it was necessary to get as much of a backstory as with Joey and Aoife, because they were not attending the same school. So if that makes sense. But yeah, I really love this. Also really loved getting to see Joey and Aoife in this one as well Johnny and Shannon. I still really love this book. So yeah, this got a 4.75 and half a chili spice as well. Okay, and then the next one we read, which again, I listened to this on Audible as well. I had to go straight on and listen to this straight after finishing The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. It is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk by Carrisa Broadbent, book 2 of the Shadowborn duet. So again, we're just continuing on with Misha and Asar's story. I am not going to tell you too much about what happens in this book because obviously it's the second book in the duet and I don't want to spoil anything for you. Again, we have underworld, we have war happening as well. We have an element of divinity in this as well. We also have, again, forced proximity. There is a slight element of enemies to lovers in this book. Kind of not real. There is, but it's not like the general enemies to lovers that you would usually see. And yeah, I liked this book better than the first book. Better than the first book in this duet. Still doesn't compare to The Serpent and the Wings of Night or Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. This duet was definitely not as strong as the first duet, but in saying that, I did enjoy it. I feel like it was just because Misha kind of lost a little bit of her spark in this duet and kind of lost a little bit of who she was, which was really sad. And kind of what happened to Asar in this particular book, I didn't really enjoy either. So it's still got a good rating from me though. This got a 4-star rating and it got a full chili spice as well. This one was a little bit spicier than the first book, but still not super spicy. There wasn't a lot of spicy scenes or anything like that. And they weren't super intense spicy scenes either. So that was that one. And then the final book, I'm not going to get out because it's right here and it's really hard to get out of my little stackers. I'm just going to put it on the screen for you, is Quicksilver. This was my favorite read of the month. It's up there in like top 3, top 5 books of the year. In Quicksilver, the tropes you have is fated mates. You have not really forced proximity. It's a slow burn. It's kind of enemies to lovers. Not true enemies to lovers though. A lot of people say enemies to lovers, but it's kind of like they just dislike each other, which is more so what Kingfisher and Sierras have. So in this book, you're following Sierras. It's all from her POV, and she is a mortal living in the mortal realm of Zilverin, I think it's called. And she has been a pickpocket and stealing from the Queen's water reservoirs for pretty much her whole life. Her mum has trained her in hand-to-hand combat. Her mum trained her how to steal and do all these things. And one day she gets caught stealing, and then she decides that she's going to make a run for it and steal from one of the Queen's guards and takes their gauntlet, which is one of their like hand pieces on their arm pieces of their armor, because it's basically pure gold and worth a lot of money. And for the section she lives in her world, it's a good deal of money. She ends up getting found and she takes down 3 guards on her own, and this is something that I absolutely love about her. She's such a strong FMC. She's such a strong FMC even in the mortal world, and then when she ends up accidentally ending up in the Fae realm, she is still really strong even though she might be one of the weaker ones, because she's human up against Fae. She's still so strong and so determined, and that's something that I really, really, really loved about this book, is that the FMC remained strong. She didn't just become this weakling when she got with the strong guy, if that makes sense. She eventually gets caught and surrenders herself to the Queen's dungeons, and she's there for some time and then has a meeting with the Queen, and she essentially was sentenced to die. and she fought back and accidentally opened up a realm to the Fae realm, which is, I think as you say, Uvilia, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's Uvilia. I'll put a pronunciation on the screen for you. Kingfisher walks out and takes her back to the Fae realm, and the story goes from there. Something that I really, really loved about this book too is just the way that Kingfisher was. He is probably my favorite Shadow Daddy now. Yes, probably going above Xaden, just the way he was. I just really liked the way he was written, if that makes sense. So this, like I said, really, really enjoyed this book. This book got a 5-star from me. It got a 2.5 chili spice. These spicy scenes in this were spicy. Callie Hart did so well, and I'm so excited for Brimstone to come out next month. It's like, it's up there. I'm reading that as soon as it comes out. Something that I am really sad about is that like this cover is going out of print, and I'm gonna have to buy the other version of Quicksilver, so the other print of Quicksilver, so it matches Brimstone. But also super excited to see where we go with Brimstone, and yeah, super excited for that. But yeah, this spice in this book was fantastic. Okay, and the last page that you guys will see, I might even just read them out to you because I think it's really, really sweet. So I have some quotes. I'm not going to tell you which books they're from, just so that you guys don't get any spoilers. It says, "Don't call her sunshine. Why not? Because she is moonlight, the mist that shrouds the mountains, the bite of electricity in the air before a storm, the smoke that rolls across a battlefield before the killing starts. You have no idea what she is. What she could be. You should call her Majesty." So that's one, because this is, it'll be up on the screen for you guys as well. But I have like a final page for my month that like has my statistics and like my favorite book, least favorite book, and favorite quotes from the books. And then the other one is, "She was too important to me. She was my everything." And it says, "He belonged to the rest of the world, but he belonged just to me." I'm not saying the words, the actual name, so that you don't get a spoiler. And then the other one is, "It was her. It had always been. It always had been. It always would be. The girl from the wall." So that one gave me like goosebumps. So yeah, you guys will be able to see that. You know, I put that up on the wall. On the screen for you. I'm sorry, struggle streeting. I now need to go film my 10 before the end again so I can get that up by the end of the week as well. So anywho, that is it from me today for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully this camera and setup, it looks so good. Like I'm looking at myself on the little viewfinder and it looks so much better than my old camera. I'm so excited. I've still got my old camera, but like I'm just going to use that for photos and stuff. If you did enjoy, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, maybe share the video out if you feel so inclined. If you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. They will be linked on the screen as well as in the description below as well. And if you want any annotated books like Quicksilver, or like the Boys of Tommen series, which you'll be able to get the whole set from me soon once I read Releasing 10. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be going through all of my books that I've annotated but not annotated properly and put all those annotations in. So there'll be an updated list on my Etsy in the next few days. But if you want any annotated books, head over to my Etsy shop. The link is also in the description below as well, and purchase a book from over there. And yeah, that's it for me today. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah.